Hey you guys, it's me, Ashley. In today's video, I want to tell you guys a little story time. It could be triggering for some people. It's kind of a sad, I don't want to say scary, but it is kind of scary, story time. It is about a time in my life. I was a teenager, like fresh out of high school, not even. It was about this crazy person that I called my boyfriend, and he tried to kill me. So, if that sounds like something that you want to hear about, then just keep watching. It doesn't really affect me now, but it is something, that I feel needs to have awareness brought to it because this happens. And, you always hear about the battered housewife or the battered woman, but you never really hear about the battered teenager or the abused teenager in their teenage love relationship because it always looks like puppy love and all cute and exciting on the outside. But then when you get behind closed doors with this person, it's a whole different ball game. And I'm not saying that every relationship is this way, but some of them are, and people don't want to think that their sons or their daughters, because daughters could be abusive too, but people don't want to think that their teenage children are out here abusing people emotionally and physically or, potentially ruining their entire life. But it does happen, and it is a lot more frequent than a lot of people want to think. I will, in my description box, have linked some websites, and I will also have some phone numbers. If you guys are in a situation similar to this, or you know someone that is, reach out for help. Even if it's your best friend, or even if it's the girl down the street that you really don't care for, but something is happening, do something about it. Even if you think they're going to be so angry at you and you're scared that nothing's going to be done anyway, or they're going to be really mad at you, just do something about it because eventually they'll get over it, okay? Eventually they'll realize that you potentially saved their life. If somebody would have been there for me, I am not one to say I regret anything because everything that happened to me in my past brought me to where I am today, and I have a wonderful husband and two beautiful little girls, and all I can do is make sure that, or do my best to make sure that my daughters do not get treated the way that I was treated as a teenager. And it can happen, and you can come from the best home or you can come from the worst home. It doesn't matter, it hits anyone. It's kind of like addiction. It can strike anywhere. So yeah, let me set the scene. I have told you guys a story about my psycho ex-boyfriend before, and then I have multiple stories, but this is the same person. I don't remember what I named him. We'll just call him Psycho. He was a psycho. We could potentially call him Mike Myers. So, he had the tendency to cheat on me, and I was super insecure, or, I guess I was pretty insecure as a teenager. I, was one of those that felt like I needed to have attention or to, go out of my way to make someone else happy rather than myself. I don't feel as if I had, someone that was noticing these types of behaviors or noticing when I was sad or whatever, Okay, so it was cold outside. I'm assuming it was winter. It's been a long time. I really don't remember all the details. A lot of times when you experience trauma or something along those lines, you kind of block it out a little, you know what I mean? So I just remember it being cold, okay? And my parents had just moved out of state, and I stayed behind to, because I was in love or whatever the reason being. We were all hanging out, me, him, and then a couple of people that were his friends. He was a year older than me, and he was just not a good person. And at the time I think I was in denial because, I caught the vibes, but at the same time I felt like I was just so hung up on this person that it was probably me just being dumb, young and dumb and insecure is what it was. And he definitely preyed on my insecurities. So we were all hanging out, and I had already been out of state. My parents moved one state away, and I was 18 or right about to be 18. So I had already went with them, you know, because I had originally planned on moving with them, obviously. I was still a senior in high school at this point, and I had been gone for probably a month maybe, and then he was like, oh, why don't you come visit, blah, blah, blah. So he came and got me, and I went back to there, which was about a 5-hour drive, I think. I don't remember exactly, but we're all hanging out one night, drinking, doing what idiot teenagers do, and this girl that was his friend's girlfriend was there, and all of a sudden her friend shows up, and then I could just feel the vibe just switch, okay? And well, I'm getting ahead of myself. She kept calling, before she came, she kept calling my boyfriend's phone. And finally, you know, he kept saying, oh, don't answer that. She's probably just trying to get a hold of her friend. So I'm, you know, at one point, the friend and I ended up alone, like his friend's girlfriend, I'm gonna call her Jess. Jess and I ended up alone while my boyfriend and his friend were doing whatever. And she's like, you know why Sarah is gonna be the extra girl's name. You know why Sarah keeps calling, don't you? And you know me, I was like, no, why? He said it was to get in touch with you, but he said he was going to tell her to call you, because I had the phone because I was waiting for my mom to call, or whatever the reason was I had the phone. And she was like, no, they've been sleeping together. And I was like, you know, I didn't want to believe it, and I was like, no way. And then the girl shows up, okay? And then I didn't ask because, again, like, little skittish, insecure girl, and now I'm like, no way, no how, I'm in your face like that, like, but I don't have to worry about that now. My husband and I have a great relationship, and it's full of trust, and we'll talk about that another day. So that happened, and it was really awkward, and I called my mom, and I'm like, Mom, you know, I'm crying, come get me, come get me, and she was like, you know, I mean, she's 5 hours away. It was like midnight, right? He ended up telling me and convincing me that they were lying and that wasn't true. So I called my mom back. I'm like, never mind. He said it's not true. My mom's like, Ashley, are you sure? You know, you don't need to be treated that way. I will come get you. And I was just like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. And I convinced her, and I had convinced myself that I was okay and that I was going to stay. Okay. Fast forward a few months, and my boyfriend and I now had an apartment because I convinced my mom that I was going to stay and go to school and finish school where we're at my high school, right? And so I was talking to the best friend one day because he used to come to our house all the time, or our apartment all the time. My boyfriend at the time was at work, and I had just gotten home from school or whatever, and then my boyfriend's best friend and his girlfriend came over, and he's tells me again, I guess he was feeling bad or whatever because he knew how bad we would fight. Like, my boyfriend was so abusive. He threatened to kill my dog. If you guys want to hear about that story, we'll talk about that another day. But anyway, he's like, Ashley, you know, I feel really bad, but Psycho is his name. Psycho is still cheating on you with Sarah. And I was like, but you guys told me that wasn't true, you know, and I'm arguing with him for a minute, and then I just kind of held it in, you know. He's like, please don't say anything while I'm here, because he knew how the guy would act. Well, I didn't say anything, you know, and then one night we went over to best friend's house, and it was a party. Like, I don't know why I can't talk. We were all drinking, blah, blah, blah. On the way home, you know, I had a little liquor in me, and I was like, you know, I know about Sarah. And he's like, he just played dumb. You know, like, what? What do you mean? I was like, I know about Sarah. And he's like, who the fuck told you that? Excuse my language. And I didn't tell him who told me, you know, because we had just been at a party with all these people, and he's like, was it best friend? And I was like, no. And he's like, I'm gonna kill him, you know. And I got scared. He snatched me by my head and like pulled my head down into the center of the thing and would not let my hair go. So finally I'm crying, you know. I think I bit him on his leg, so he finally let me go, and I tried to open the door and run out, and he hit the gas and the door slammed shut. Okay, so I'm terrified. He's driving like a maniac. Crazy people, when they get angry, they drive like a crazy person. Well, he was driving like an absolute maniac, and I was scared. Granted, don't forget, I'm 18 years old, like freshly 18 years old, okay? And we finally get to our apartment, and I open the door and I slam it. We used to leave our screen door unlocked because it was a lot quicker, you know, we were lazy teenagers, to park in front of our patio and walk through the screen door instead of going, you know, parking, especially when it was cold where we lived, it would snow. So instead of parking by our door and then going all the way to the front and coming in and then going all the way down the hallway, you know, which it really wasn't that far, but we were, again, lazy teenagers, we would always leave our screen door open or like unlocked. So I hop out of the car, I slam the door, I take off running, like for my life running, and I shut the door and I lock it and I go and make sure that our other door is locked, and I am thinking that I'm okay, you know, because he was really acting like a psychopath. And the next thing I know, I hear this loud crash. This guy, like, we had our screen open. It was cool enough to leave the screen open and not too hot to where it would, you know, we needed the air conditioner or that it would freeze us inside. So he had jumped through the window, broken the screen out, and like just jumped through the screen and knocked it in, okay? I hear him, you know, and I'm in the bathroom with the door locked, and he kicks the door open. I'm hiding in the bathtub, you know, because I'm an idiot. I tried calling my mom, she didn't answer, and he snatched my phone and threw it, you know, down the hallway, out the bathroom, down the hallway. He had this big kitchen knife, okay, and it wasn't like an expensive block knife, you know, it was probably one of those $4 knives from Walmart, but it was still like this long and it could still kill someone. And he's holding it to my throat, like, who told you? And then he started accusing me of cheating on him, which, you know, is exactly like the basic deterrent, I guess, you know, I know he's cheating on me, so let's flip it around and accuse me of cheating on him. So he's holding this knife in my throat. I'm crying, you know, I'm terrified. And I had a dog who's in there like barking, and it was just crazy. And I don't know what happened, but finally he like calmed down enough to leave me alone. I really don't know. And I just kind of dropped, you know, because all that adrenaline, and it's so scary. And I just stayed in the bathroom, in the bathtub forever, just bawling. I didn't have a phone, and he didn't go to work the next day, and I almost felt like a prisoner, you know. And then the day after, he did go to work, and my best friend at the time was at my house, and, you know, she knew all the things that was happening, and she did her best to help me and get me out of it, and she was there for me and whatever, you know.
You guys, she really was there for me. I know here the faces I make it seem like I just didn't really care, or that she really was kind of there for me. She did her best to help me get out, and I was just an idiot and didn't listen, and it took me a little while. But eventually I got out, so that's what matters.
She comes over to my house. She brought her mom's SUV, and we packed up everything that was mine. I had my dog in the kennel. I took all the food, you know, petty wop, but I wasn't being like, I was just, I guess, being petty, but I was hurting, you know, and I took all my clothes. I literally packed up my entire apartment. Everything that was not his was packed, and I had it all in the back of her car, and I left, or her mom's car, and I left with her, and had every intentions on going home. And I mean, we went to her house, and a couple of hours went by. He got home from work. He's calling me, and he's crying, and then all of a sudden, he convinced me to go back, that it wasn't true, and then how sorry he was. You know, you guys know those cliche where they always apologize and they always do it again. Well, he did. It was always an apology and always again. And thankfully, I got out of it eventually. But, you know, I have so many horror stories to tell. But my reasoning for telling you guys this story is, please, I said it in the beginning, if you guys know anybody, if you think something's happening, if they look like something's happening, if you know anything, no matter how much you like or dislike the person, nobody deserves to be treated that way, male or female, old or young, nobody. And pay attention and get help for them, or for you. If it's you, get help for yourself. Don't be dumb. And I mean, it's not dumb. I know you're not being dumb, but try your hardest to know your worth, and you're worth more than that. There will be somebody that will love you and that you can love, and that relationship can be perfect the way it's supposed to be. You are worth more than that type of relationship. I found that out, that I am, you know, I eventually got away from it, thankfully, because that would have been a long, miserable life. Because from what I've heard around, which I haven't heard anything in years, but the last I heard, he was in and out of jail for abuse and, you know, stuff like that. So abuse is not something to play with. It's damaging not only to the person being abused, it's damaging to the abuser, it's damaging to children, it's damaging to the family. So again, if you know anyone, if it's you, get help, get them help. And yeah, I'm gonna end it there. So I know it's probably not a video that you want to like, but if you respect the story, if you like me, give me a big thumbs up. I would highly appreciate it. If you don't already, go ahead and follow me on all my social media. They will all be linked down below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel with notifications on. I like to post beauty videos, and I like to post stories sometimes, and I like to post randomness. I would highly appreciate it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.